Hey, welcome to my channel, or welcome back, loyal viewers. I'm Carrie, the nosy housefrau. I do appreciate all of you, and I'm sorry I'm chuckling because an M80 just went off. You might hear an M80 go off. It happens. Also, the life flight went by because I live near the hospital, and sometimes the life flight goes by, or as I call it, Uber organs. So you probably won't hear anything, but this is a good and new microphone, and I think it has 360 degrees of recording, so I'm still learning what it can do. So today I'm sticking my nose in on the hot topic, the piping hot tea that is Smokey Glow and Rewired Soul. If you haven't watched it already, there's a very popular, excellent video going around that Hannah Smokey Glow did about how Rewired Soul is a danger to YouTube. If for some reason you haven't seen that before clicking on this video, I highly recommend you pause right now and treat yourself because it is fantastic. We'll talk about the truth bombs in a minute. Similarly to what Hannah stated in her video, I too am aware that by virtue of making this video, I'm giving attention to somebody that doesn't really deserve the attention and likely craves the attention. I know that, but I have decided to make the video because, like Hannah, I feel passionate enough about the things that had me chomping at the bit, and I would like to get them off my chest. I can't give you some concrete promise that I will never broach the subject again, but I can tell you it's unlikely. Now, if you saw Hannah's video, you saw how impassioned she was. At no time did she lose her temper, but she didn't quite pull her punches either. She laid it all out there, and it was powerful. She had a talent for shining a light on the truth, and that's a powerful thing in and of itself, having the truth on your side. If you go into any argument armed with the truth, you have the advantage. Hannah herself is in recovery, so this is exactly what I would expect from somebody who not only feels that someone in her field is being intellectually dishonest, but to see somebody exploiting somebody in recovery. And just to give you an idea of how strongly she felt about this, here's a little clip.
And then he tweets at her, let me find the exact tweet. So Taylor Nicole Dean said, "Please stop making videos to profit off my addiction and just let me talk about it myself first, at least in a video, no matter your intention." And he said, this grinded my gears so much. I got so mad when I saw this. "Please be a better example of recovery for your audience." The absolute last thing that a person who is recovering from sobriety should be worried about is anyone but themselves. They should literally only be focusing on themselves and doing what's best for them. She should not be focusing on being a good person of sobriety. Like, first of all, you, honestly, you for saying that. That's such a up thing to, I never swear on this channel, but you. That's a horrific thing to say to a person who's in sobriety.
Insert Meryl Streep enthusiastically standing up and applauding. You've seen that meme. You go, girl. You could not be more spot on or more warranted in your ire of this person. It was absolutely unconscionable what he said to that person in recovery. That's something somebody who has no idea about mental health would say maybe. I mean, I think if you think about the person you know who knows the least about couth, would they even make that mistake? It was just extremely inappropriate. And in fact, Hannah goes on to say that he is only doing all of this to hawk his book that he had no reason writing. It makes no sense. She just didn't hesitate to lay it all out there. And the reason I want you to know the level of Hannah's disgust is because the first thing that occurred to me watching his video is that he wasn't angry at all. He was rather pleased with himself. He was chuffed over how her video had gone viral, and he was getting all kinds of DMs. Look at how popular he is. That's basically how the video started out. The video in which, of course, he had to put both names in the title for more views. And in fact, I don't know this girl Dean. I don't know my Taylor Dean from my Jimmy Dean or my Taylor Dean. I don't know. I apologize. I don't know who that is, but I do wish her the best with her recovery. And I really don't have to know who she is to know that he was highly inappropriate in his comments towards her. She asks him not to do videos. He does them anyway. He doesn't care about recovery. It's exactly as Hannah said. And the fact that he was just thrilled was amazing. He said one thing right. One thing I've agreed with him on, and the few things I've seen him in. He said, you either will believe me or you won't. And that's absolutely true. I feel most situations come down to that. And I don't believe him. I saw his language as highly manipulative. He didn't address anything that Hannah said other than his credentials, which he glosses over and then starts going into how he is working with this and that, and how, he just does this whole salt of the earth thing with how he just feels that the company he was working with, or excuse me, the clinic or whatever he was working with, always using this language that makes him look more professional than he is. He'll say that they just weren't giving patients the care he believed they should have, etc. He's just trying to make himself the messiah of mental health, and I will not see it any other way, because he just comes across so phony. And the fact that he was all happy and saying that Hannah could email him and they would talk, he actually says, I don't know Hannah, other than, we chatted under her video, making it look like Hannah's a-okay with him. He's suggesting that there could be a camaraderie there, and that they are both just two people in the field. He refers to himself repeatedly as a public figure, that he is a public figure in the spotlight. Well, I mean, to repeatedly say that those are the kinds of things that Chris says that leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, that make people see him as less than genuine, because he's so interested in fame. He's so good at copying what he thinks a therapist looks like. But I think it's all a facade. I think he just keeps faking it, trying to make it. I think he is a carny in the medical field, if anything. Often when I vlog, I'm inspired if I think I have a new perspective or bring something to the conversation that I haven't heard. And that brings me to the primary reason for making this video. I believe I've made an observation that exposes Chris's nature in a way that it deserves to be exposed, and perhaps will illuminate some things for people. In Chris's video, not only is he not bothered by anything she has said about him, and he's all happy, he doesn't address it. If somebody were making a video about you and you wanted to set the record straight, you'd be chomping at the bit. So would I. Any innocent person would want to clear the record or have their say. So Chris was all positivity and light. He was trying to kill her with kindness, you could say, and addresses the credentials barely and sidesteps that. But the only thing he did address is very telling. He said, the only thing I disagree with Hannah on is that relapse is part of recovery. So that's the only thing he disagrees with her on. And the reason that that is wrong of him to say is because in those comment chats that he was so eager to mention to everyone, making it look like he was all friendly with Hannah, he addressed that very thing there as well. I considered that a misinterpretation of what she had said, because she did put in a disclaimer saying, most likely or probably.
When people are newly sober, that is so hard. That is like the hardest time. The first, I would say year, honestly, the first year of sobriety sucks. It's uncertain. You're adjusting to a whole new lifestyle. It's so hard. It's so hard. That's the reason people relapse. Relapse, honestly, they tell you this in rehab. Relapse is part of your recovery. Full transparency, it's completely part of recovery. They know, people who work in rehab facilities and even addicts, because they tell you, they know that you're going to relapse, probably. The probability and the chances of you relapsing are high.
Probably. The probability is high. That is hardly the blanket statement Chris so conveniently made that out to be. But he took issue with it in the comments. He knew that this was a situation that because she didn't put a disclaimer in, it could give him a little leverage and he could be in the one-up and he could look so professional. Gotcha there, right? It was a gotcha moment. Hannah clarified it in the comments. So not only did he get her position wrong in the first place, she clarified, well, this is actually what I meant. I know it's not true in all cases. I'll put the comments up and so you can pause and read them if you'd like. He continues to be like a dog with a bone and puts it in his video even after she clarified that. The reason he did that was for leverage, because it was the one thing he figured he could pin her on and look more professionalized. I found that so manipulative and annoying. And you know what? A vlogger should know better. Because often when you vlog, you have to put so many disclaimers. I'm not always great at this. And if you don't, you will have that person who will call you out on something that should go without saying. It's very irritating when people do that. And here she says something that should go without saying. And by the way, I do know enough about my schooling to know that she is exactly right. That is something that they say relapse is part of recovery. It doesn't mean that you have to relapse. And he should know that if he's in the field. I know it's hard when you're a public figure to get all of the facts. But in fact, there's nothing wrong with saying relapse is part of recovery. It's a way of making a person feel that they can get back up on the wagon, that they are not a failure if they falter in their recovery. It's very important, and especially, I imagine, in that first year that Hannah described as so difficult. I imagine that would be all the more important to know that you should not expect perfection from yourself. Why he chose to take an issue with this is clear to me. It's because he felt he could look more in the know. That's what he chose to address out of everything she said. Doesn't address why he's making a video about somebody who said don't make a video. He doesn't address that and say he's not just hawking his book, that he feels passionate about this. And this is why they say you can't fake sincerity. Because if he was sincere, he'd be walking and talking differently than he is. And I'm just not buying that salt of the earth crap. I don't think that you are a mental health professional in any sense of the word. And you certainly can't be if you have no empathy. And you have no empathy when you're making video after video about somebody who committed suicide, putting these stupid thumbnails up, and making video after video of people in recovery, and titling numerous videos, "Please Stop Enabling." And he owes that girl an apology, not just for his video, but for his unconscionable tweet telling her to be a better example. So what do you think? Do you think Chris Boutte was doing the nice guy routine because you catch more subs with honey? Do you think that if Hannah was so far off the mark, he would have been much more irate and gone down a bullet point list of how she's wrong, instead of trying to befriend her and saying, hey, DM me? I'm anxious to hear your thoughts. I have a feeling, since most of you, like 99.9% of you, are so reasonable, and this is my favorite part. I get to upload and laugh and nod and agree so much with everything you say. So please do regale me with your wit and your insight. Looking forward to it, and I will see you all soon. Hausfrau out.